WROC 93.5, The Rock. The Rock. Broadcasting from a van down by the river.
Hi there. Are you a large person, pleasantly plump, a little on the hefty side perhaps? Well, let's face it. Are you fat? When you go jogging, do you leave potholes? When you make love, do you have to give directions? At the zoo, do elephants throw you peanuts? Do you look at a menu and say, okay? Well, now you can eat all you want, because at Thornton Mellon's Tall and Fat stores, we've got you covered. That's right, fine woolen, and woolen blend suits and sport coats in all the larger sizes. Husky, stout, extra stout, and the new Hindenburg line. And for you ladies, we have caftans, boo-boos, and our own exclusive A-frame in all colors and patterns. Yes, we have miles and miles of fabric. So take it from me, Thornton Mellon. If you want to look thin, you hang out with fat people.
Thornton Mellon's Tall and Fat, 150 locations across America.
Hello, I'm Frank Bartles, and this here's my partner, James Brown. As the weather starts getting too hot, we hope you will reach for one of these. New Bartles and James Brown wine cooler.
It tastes good.
They come in 3 funky flavors. Gravity grape, primer passion fruit, and my personal favorite, papaya.
Papaya's got a brand new day.
It'll get you off faster than a big city lawyer. And a single pack serves 6 to 10, just like James.
New Bartles and James Brown wine coolers. The cooler, made in the cooler.
Now behind bars everywhere.
And thank you for your support.
You're listening to the Fast Plastic Radio Network. It's about the game.
And welcome to the May 30th edition of the Fast Plastic Radio Network. I'm JB, alongside the host, Billy O. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, JB?
I'm doing real good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I got me a little nap.
I see that. I got you woke up on time, too.
So how many shows is this now we've got in the books?
You know, off the top of my head, I want to say, 14 or 15 at least.
Oh, really? That many?
I think so, yeah.
All right.
It's got to be close to that anyhow.
So, bump me up a touch. Oh. Test 1, 2 right there. Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. Good job.
All right. So, last week we had almost 600 views on Facebook. So I want to throw a big shout out to everybody for sharing, and I'll ask to do the same this time. Keep sharing that with all the wifflers out there. Share it on your Facebook page, and let's spread the word about Fast Plastic and about wiffle ball in general, the tournaments and the games.
Yeah, because all the players will benefit from it, get you some exposure. And,
absolutely.
Get more guys playing, hopefully. But I didn't even share it, JB, through one of my deals I do. I forgot.
I know. I noticed that. You're slacking.
That would have brought in probably, no exaggeration, another
2 or 3.
Yeah. 100.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Come on. I do better work than that.
All right. Well, anyhow, we got a pretty good show lined up here, right?
We do, actually. And I would say before we waste any more time, we should probably go ahead and get Millsy on.
That's a good idea. So let me
get him on the hotline, calling on the hotline. You remember that song?
Oh, yeah. Give me just a second to get him going here, okay?
Yeah, we got a great show tonight. After Millsy, we're going to be talking with Carl Coffey from, I believe, Washington, D.C. area. And then we're going to go to Jim Ballion out in Arizona, and then Jared Lamp somewhere out west.
All right. We've got Millsy here, but before we put him on, we've got to play his spot. Best way to tell the world about your upcoming tournament is Fast Plastic Radio and WiffleBallTournaments.com. WiffleBallTournaments.com is here to help you locate tournaments all over the nation and find the ones closest to home. If you know of any tournaments that we don't have listed, let us know. We're here to help everyone, players and directors alike. Spread the word, WiffleBallTournaments.com. You can contact WiffleBallTournaments.com, W2BWiffle@gmail.com. WiffleBallTournaments.com. And with that, how's it going, Millsy?
Oh, it's going great. I'm in the process of getting central air in my house, so I can't wait for that to happen.
I can imagine, because that's got to be pretty brutal. If it's anything like it is here in Illinois, it's been hot all day and all week.
Yeah, very hot and very humid.
So tell us about the tournaments coming up this weekend.
All right, so there's actually a lot this weekend, so I'm going to rattle them off to you guys, and if anybody happens to miss anything, you can just go to wiffleballtournaments.com, and I'll have them all listed up on there. But first, I'll start with a bunch of opening days, and the first one I have is Indy Southside Wiffle Ball, and their opening day is in Indianapolis, Indiana on Saturday. They were founded in 2009, and based on videos, it looks like they're a medium pitch yellow bat run the base league. After that, I have the Mequon Wiffle Ball League, and their opening day is in Mequon, Wisconsin on Saturday, and they are a medium pitch yellow bat run the base league. Then I have the Ridley Park Wiffle Ball League, and their opening day is in Ridley Park, PA, and that's on Saturday. They're a fast pitch run the base league. Then I have the Berea Wiffle Ball League, and their opening night is in Berea, Ohio on Sunday. And they are medium pitch yellow bat run the base league. Next, I have the Whiffers Life League, and their opening day is in Cannonsburg, PA on Sunday. It's their 5th season, and they're a medium pitch unscuffed run the base league. Then I have a new one that recently popped up, and it's the Cedar Hill Parks and Rec Wiffle Ball League, and their opening night is in Cedar Hill, Texas on Monday. And my best guess is it's a medium pitch unscuffed yellow bat league. Next, I have the Texas Wiffle Ball League, and their opening day is in Frisco, Texas, where the Fast Plastic Open is this year. And that is this Tuesday. It's a fast pitch run the base league. And then I have a bunch of tournaments. There's a Backyard Rule has a couple tournaments this weekend. We have one in Fort Myers, Florida on Friday, and one in Sarasota, Florida on Saturday. And this is a medium pitch yellow bat run the base tournament. Next, I have the Field of Nightmares, and it's their spring wiffle ball tournament. That's in Rainsville, Alabama on Saturday. And the speed depends on which mound you stand on. It's unscuffed ball, yellow bat, and run the bases. Then I have Golden Stick Wiffle Ball League. They have 2 tournaments this weekend. One's in Danvers, Massachusetts, and that's their 2nd tournament up there, and that's this Saturday. And next I have the Westbury, New York Golden Stick Tournament, and that's their 3rd in New York, and that's on Sunday. And these tournaments are medium pitch scuff ball. And last but not least, I have the Cam Sneed Memorial Tournament, and that is in Granger, Indiana on Saturday. It's a medium pitch yellow bat run the base tournament, and it's in memory of a wiffle ball player named Cam Sneed, who played for the Granger Panthers of the Old Republic Wiffle Ball League. So there's a lot going on this weekend, guys.
Holy cow! I would say, have you caught your breath? You need to take a minute.
Nah, I could have rattled off a few more, but these are all the big ones that are happening this week for sure.
So I got one question for you, Millsy.
Yeah, what's that?
Last week you talked about the Guinness Book of World Records longest game of wiffle ball that was going to be played in St. Louis. Did you hear any outcomes from that?
I did not. I actually meant to reach out to him this week, but I was real busy at work and didn't have time. Were you guys able to reach out at all?
I tried, but didn't get a response. So I'll try again, but I don't know. Maybe those guys were just too hungover, like from playing.
Yeah, I hope they did it. I mean, maybe they didn't answer your calls because they didn't do it. But
yeah,
I hope they did it.
I was going to say as well, for future reports when you come on, you could probably save yourself some breath on Backyard Rule tournaments down in Florida. I think it'd probably be easier for you to report when they're not running a tournament.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's actually probably good because they're like every weekend. So.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So, well, anyway,
yeah, man, good tournament.
It is. Why do you think it's opening weekend for so many of these organizations?
My guess is that most of these leagues probably started when kids were in high school, and this seems to be coming up on the end of high school and also the end of college. So that's my best guess for that.
Yeah, good point. I would tend to agree with you. Well, I know you got a busy night ahead of you, so we won't keep you too long. We appreciate you coming on as always.
Good luck.
Yeah, anytime, guys. And I just want to say that if I did miss anybody's tournaments or leagues, reach out to me at wiffleballtournaments.com and click the contact page and send me your information, and I'll make sure I get you guys listed.
Hopefully, you've been getting a lot more since you've been on the show.
Yeah, I actually have. I've been getting a lot more emails. It's definitely noticeable.
Awesome. Well, Millsy, thank you much, and hope you get cool here real soon.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you again next week.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, Millsy, man, he had a mouthful there.
Yeah, so a couple that jumped out at me, obviously, Frisco, Texas Wiffle Ball League, Will Marshall's league kicking off. That will be pretty exciting. He said it was fast pitch base running. I think they elected not to do the base running. Maybe originally they were talking about it and flip the switch to go back to not base running.
Right.
But check in with them. And then I saw there was another tournament there in Texas as well, Cedar Hill.
Right.
I'm not sure where that is. Do you know?
Not for sure. I know what's in Texas.
There's a Cedar Park that used to be the home of Fast Plastic, but I never heard of Cedar Hill. I think that may be southeast of Dallas, possibly. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, all right.
Also, on Facebook here, we've got Palisades Week 4 is this weekend also.
Yeah, I think we
actually we do. I'll just go ahead and throw that out real quick, okay?
Yeah, do that. That should be.
All right, here you go,
timing.
Palisades. Well, I said I would. Let's try it again.
The last time these two teams saw each other, it took 3 games and extras to see who would advance to the finals. This Sunday, there will be just 1 game, as the first place Dodgers face the 4-2 Diamondbacks on the Palisades WBL Game of the Week. Palisades Ironman Tim Trineri takes the carpet against hard-throwing Devin Torres as they try to slow down Whiffman, Johnny Whiffs, Kenny Stengel, and Rich Galah. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, the Palisades WBL Game of the Week, Sunday at 2:40 p.m. live on Facebook.
There it is. Palisades Game of the Week on Facebook. Be sure and check it out.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty good. We will definitely run that a couple more times for the night's over, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I'm going to be putting my money down on a few of those teams. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I will.
What's your pick?
Well, I'm not going to reveal right now, but yeah, I will be slapping some change down.
Let me throw a shout out to Paul Coffee out there. Go ahead and place your call into us. Carl, I'm sorry. I don't know where I got Paul. But
JB,
Carl, horrible at names, okay? So, Carl, go ahead and make that call now. We'll get you on here momentarily when you call in, okay?
So, JB, this is start of summer, right?
It is.
And
yes.
I noticed you're drinking out of a Halloween mug. What's up with that?
Well, when I went to the studio break room, this was the only thing that was clean at the present time. So it's the jack-o'-lantern mug. So yes, I'm still celebrating Halloween.
There used to be a wiffle ball tournament back in the day. I can't remember who the director was, but it was called Wiffle Lantern.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wiffle Lantern. Anybody remember that? Send us a message and let us know who it was that used to run that somewhere. I think like Pennsylvania. Who knows? A little bit later tonight, I'm probably going to talk a little bit about the Texas Open format. So stay tuned for that. And JB.
All right, we've got Carl on the line. Carl, how you doing?
Oh, doing fantastic. Can you guys hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Carl. Thanks for coming on tonight.
My pleasure. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Sounds like we might have a little bit of a delay here, so we'll see if we can battle through that. So where are you located, Carl? Were you in Washington, D.C. area? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in Northern Virginia now, about 30 miles from D.C.
Okay. Is that where you're originally from?
No, I'm south of Detroit, from Michigan. I moved to Virginia in 2015.
Yeah. So you enjoying that part of the country these days? We have dead air.
I know. I don't know. Carl, are you there?
It's not home. It's yeah.
Okay, because we're losing you here.
Yeah. I could try to call back on my phone. Hold on.
Well, how about
Can you hear me okay?
You're cutting in and out. Let's try by phone, okay? So
Yeah,
I've got your number here. I'll give you a call, okay? So just stand by.
Yeah, no problem.
Wow, that was peculiar, I would say. Strange. So anyway, I was saying a little bit later, be going into the format for the Texas Open NCT. Been working on that. I think I've got it designed to maximize the experience. Ran it by a few guys, and seems to be a consensus of positive feedback on that. And anyway, we ready to try again, JB?
We're going to try it again. Carl, how about it now?
All right, guys. I'm on my cell phone now. I tried to be fancy. Tried to do it over my recording device. Guess it didn't work.
All right. Well, you sound good now.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We'll do it
So
professionally.
so anyway, I was asking you, so you said you're originally from Michigan. You moved down there to Washington, D.C., and I was just wondering if you like that part of the country, Washington area. I've been there a couple of times. Just curious if for a Midwesterner to move to the East Coast, if that's a good thing.
Yeah. I don't really like it here, to be honest with you. You know, Michigan's always going to be home. Trying to find my way back there somehow. Yeah. But, you know, slowly trying to get comfortable here. You kind of think this is a really good league here. It's only a football league. And as soon as I move here, it pretty much dies out. So,
yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, so you've been involved with the in the sport for quite a few years. And obviously you do things to promote the sport. The podcast comes to mind. I think you used to run the league and things like that. So a few of the questions I have for you. First one is, so whenever somebody hears your name, Carl Coffey, what do you think comes to mind first? Are you player
I think
first?
Right, yeah.
What's
Definitely not a player. But recently, probably for the last few years, podcaster.
Yeah.
I would say for the last 3 years. And then earlier in this decade, commissioner of WSEM, that's a league in Southeast Michigan that I used to run. But yeah, definitely podcaster now.
Yeah. So how long did you run the league, WSEM? What was the tenure for that?
Well, the league started in 2011. It's still going now. So 2011 to 2015. So I ran it for 5 years. And then the 2 years before that, in 2009 and 2010, we just ran tournaments to try to build a base so we would have a successful league. Because actually in 2005, I tried to launch a league, without knowing anyone but besides high school friends, and it just failed miserably. So it's like, let's do it right. Let's get enough people so we know we can have a successful league.
So you're still kind of fading in and out a little bit. I'm not sure. JB said maybe your phone, move your mic a little bit more down on closer to your mouth. I guess. I don't know. I'm not a technical guy, but anyway, so yeah, I know the WSEM. I know a little bit about that from listening to your podcasts, a few of those, and talking about the history behind that. I know you guys won some championships. So you moved to Washington. You got away from organizing or being a league director, and you started doing the Two Wiffle Dudes podcast. What exactly inspired you to start the podcast, and when did you start doing that?
I think I found the podcast on my cell phone. It's horrible. That's why I tried to do it with Skype. But I just have terrible luck with technology. A lot of my guests can contest to that. We've had a lot of problems. But anyway, so I moved out of Michigan, and I still have the bug. I still want to be involved with the sport. So that's when I talked to Josh Smith, who ran the Huntington Football League for a long time. He ran this league digest. I said, let's just do a podcast. Let's do a nationally focused podcast. We don't have this. No one does it. Let's do it. It's my way to stay in the sport. So, yeah. As soon as I leave Michigan, so I leave WFCM, that's what I did. And I did a podcast with WFCM, and in the off season, in the winters, we would do 4 podcasts, and we didn't have 3 podcasts, so it just kind of spawned off that. We already had a model in place, so we just used the same model for 2 episodes that we did with the WFCM National Podcast.
Okay. So you guys were tied in, WSEM, tied into the NWLA, and said you won a couple championships. You still do the podcast, promotes the NWLA first and foremost, which is a great thing. So what is your current role in the NWLA? And, has your role currently, have you taken on more of a role in the organization or less, like what's your past history with the league?
Well, I mean, there's the NWA and then there's the NWA tournament, and they're very different. The NWA was founded in 2006, and my role with the NWA, which is just the website that links the teams and links the website and has the Hall of Fame. I do vote on that, but I'm not super involved. Another guy runs that. So with the NWA tournament, I actually co-founded it. It was my idea, but I kind of just told Chris Galloway a bunch of ideas. I sort of him. He's the guy who pretty much got the NWA tournament off the ground and funded it and everything. So right now, 2018, I'm just 1/5 the host committee. There's 5 of us that makes all the decisions. We talk on the phone 2 or 3 times a month. We plan the tournament. We all do different things.
So you guys plan your tournament, the championship tournament. It's midsummer, right? Rather than being at the end of a season, it's back in the middle of summer. And how did you guys come to that decision?
To play in July, well, there's a tournament in Central Ohio. It's the London Wiffle Ball Tournament. And the original idea was to have a super weekend of wiffle ball in Central Ohio, play in both that tournament, and then have a fast pitch tournament. It's the London tournament, the slow pitch. It's like 120 teams. It's pretty cool. And that's how, I met a lot of these guys. So we're just going to have like a super weekend. And they have their tournament in the middle of July, so that's when we did it too. We talked about moving it. We just never have. I mean, now we're in Michigan. It's not super bad. Usually in the high 80s, low 90s. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's 90% chance you're going to have good weather, I guess, middle of July, especially in the Midwest. Get a few pop-up T-storms that might wipe you out for an hour or 2, but you can, go through a rain delay. You should be good to go. JB's handing me a note here. Oh, okay. So the one thing I wanted to ask you is, so when I got back into doing all this wiffle ball stuff, a couple, maybe 18 months ago, I came across NWLA. I had no idea what it was. I'd never heard of it before. I started talking to a few guys that I've known for a long time. They had no idea what it was. They'd never heard of it, or if they had, they said they didn't know about it. And I would imagine that's probably the case for a lot of the guys that play the fast plastic style game, the Golden Stick League and Palisades and all these guys. I would say for the most part, guys that are not located in the Midwest and in the upper Northeast probably don't know a whole lot about the NWLA. So Give me your best explanation of what the NWLA is in about 1 minute, if possible.
All right. If anyone can hear me, it doesn't seem like I'm looking at these messages and it just feels horrible.
Hey, Carl.
I don't think anyone can understand anything.
Carl, if you could do me a favor, put your phone on speakerphone and hold it out in front of you.
Worse, but I can try.
If you put it on speaker and hold it out in front of you, I think it'll be a lot better, okay?
Hold on, I'll try. All right, can you hear me better?
Oh, yeah. That's
Much
a lot
better.
better. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Should we redo the whole thing?
I wish we could. I wish we could, man. It's but anyway, go ahead with what you got there.
Okay, so I knew this would happen. I know my luck with audio. But anyway, so pretty much the NWA, it's an organization that of leagues, pretty much. National Wiffle Ball League Association. A guy named John Converse started it. Like I said, if anyone understood me, in 06. I joined in 2011. I joined actually right when Palisades was leaving, and the message boards were hot as soon as I joined. It was just awesome. Just going to the message boards every day, and there'd be 10 to 20 messages to read. And I was just kind of getting sick of people bickering on the message boards about who's better. Because they had these mock tournaments of the best team at the end of the year, and it was kind of stupid, but people got into it. So I was talking about the London tournament earlier, and a lot of the leagues in the end everybody played in London. And I said, you know what, this is silly. Let's just play league versus league. Let's have a little tournament. Let's see who's best on the field. So pretty much it's just a tournament, league versus league. Start out, you can have 6 guys on the team. Now you can have 8. With an all-star team of leagues playing against each other. 16-team tournament. And, it's the exact opposite style of Fast Plastic. The only thing that's the same is that we play outside and we use the same balls, but we really don't, because we use clean balls and you guys don't. We base run, we use yellow bats, clean balls. I mean, I guess we both throw at a board. That's something the same. But I mean, it's exact opposite styles. And it's not for anyone. I pretty much kind of look at it like this. You got the backyard players kind of prefer, I think, the NWA style. Whereas the ultra competitive guys prefer more Fast Plastic style. And I know a lot of the ultra competitive guys live on the East Coast, so it's kind of why maybe it hasn't taken off there.
Yeah. It could be, but I think for the most part, the extreme Northeast up there, they have their own brand of the game that's been around way back, and that's pretty much what the Golden Stick Yard League is. I call it hall ball, where you're playing on, and that's not a term I came up with. Some older players used to use that term way back in the day, but where you play on these little bitty, tiny pizza slice wiffle ball fields, using the little skinny bats and all this stuff, but and hit, over the line type play. But I think that's why it's not as big up in the Northeast, but I think the Fast Plastic fast pitch model is a little bit easier for them to adapt to than what it would be the NWLA type league rule stuff. Just my opinion on that. And what you said, one thing though that I'll disagree with you on, is that you said that the NWLA uses the clean ball and Fast Plastic doesn't use the clean ball. Well, that's not necessarily true. In Fast Plastic, you can use any ball you want. If it's unscuffed, use it. It's just most of the players figured out that if you scuff a ball, you can get it to move a lot better. But there have been a lot of guys come up over the years that use brand new wiffle balls. So I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not, but anyway, no big deal. So yeah, but like I said, whenever I first got back into this, I started coming across NWLA, and I was amazed that some of the guys had never heard of the NWLA, and almost fact where it was embarrassing when I would ask them, and they were like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. I'm just trying to gather information here." So, but it was So the NWLA Summer Championship Tournament, did you say it only takes 16 teams?
Yeah. We have regional events.
Yeah.
This year, we have 20 teams. We've had 24 in the past. We're doing regionals in 2 weeks to narrow it down. So the national tournament is just 16 teams, and like that for the last few years.
Yeah. Okay, well, so you guys kind of have a model to where you're eliminating teams in some qualifying tournaments scattered around, and then champions keep advancing on to the final tournament, right?
Yeah, what we usually would do is the top 8 finishers of nationals would have a spot for the following year. And then, I mean, in the past, it's been 4 regional events. Last year we had 2, and now we have 1. So now we're doing the top 13 teams get a spot.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier he funded a lot of these tournaments in the past, so we're kind of just tightening it up a little bit, having only 1 regional event.
So you touched on it a little bit earlier about the whole debate that was going on between the leagues, saying we're better and they were doing mock tournaments or whatever. But there's this whole other debate that most guys are aware of, that, you know, which version of the sport is the best? Is it the NWLA model? Is it the fast pitch model? And that debate's been going on way for years and years and years. It just happens to be big right now because of the Palisades NWLA. If it's even raging, I know it was there for a while. But what's your take on all that? You know, who is better? Does it matter, in your opinion? How did it come about? You know, and just overall, what do you think?
That's a good question. At the end of the day, it's a bunch of alpha males. A lot of these players are, you know, really good at baseball, really good at softball, and they're just used to being the best, and they want to be called the best. There's like 3 or 4 national titles out there. They got lots of people calling themselves national champions. Even, I mean, there's this tournament in Illinois that just plays overhand lob pitch, and the people that win that, they call themselves national champions. They call themselves the best team in the nation. People in the NCAA tournament call themselves national champions. There's a tournament now in Tennessee, National Whipple. People who win that call themselves national champions. People who win Fast Plastic, they call themselves national champions. So we have lots of national champions. But listen, are any of them really national champions? We don't know. Let's have a tournament of national champions. It might come to that someday. So, I mean, it's a good question. And the debate doesn't really matter, in my opinion. The styles is just, you know, it's what people prefer. You have people who are motivated by money. You have more people motivated by bragging rights. It's tough to break down, and I try to stay neutral on the topic. I try not to say, oh, this is better, this is better, this is better. But, I mean, if you put a gun to my head and you say, okay, what is the best style? What tournament brings out the best athletes? I mean, you're probably going to like hearing this, but, I mean, yeah, you guys give out a lot of money down in Texas. And I think the people who get on a plane and fly down to Texas to play for $5,000 or $10,000, those might be some of the better athletes in the game. That's my opinion. Granted, if top Fast Plastic team plays the top NCAA tournament team, NCAA tournament rules, I think those guys, the NCAA guys, would win. But if the NCAA guys played the Fast Plastic guys, Fast Plastic rules, the Fast Plastic guys would win. So it's all about, you know, different styles. It's a good debate. Without debate, what am I going to do? I have a podcast. There's going to be nothing to talk about if we don't have these kind of questions.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's I think these type debates go on in just about every sport, right? I mean, what's the big one going on for the last couple of years? Who's better? LeBron, Jordan? I mean, Kobe, Michael Jordan. So it's always something. Do you think a scenario like what you just described will ever happen, though? Will a Fast Plastic champion take on an NWLA champion for all the marbles, or a Palisades champion take on NWLA? Will that ever pan out?
I don't think it will. I don't think it will unless there's there's a rich guy out there who wants to see it happen and makes it happen by throwing out a lot of money. And I wish it could happen, but I think a lot of these people really don't care. I think a lot of people are just comfortable playing their style. I mentioned that at Illinois tournament. Those people are comfortable playing overhand lob pits. The guys who win the NCAA tournament are comfortable playing with the yellow bats. And I don't know if they're afraid to lose or they're just comfortable playing their style, but I don't think it will happen. I want it to happen. I would love, when we talked about this, Billy, we talked about having guys who win the NCAA tournament having a ticket to the Fast Plastic Championship in Texas, you know? And it's a great idea, and I hope it happens. But do I think it will happen? No, I don't. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, I had somebody tell me, we were talking, they're saying that it's very likely, or not likely, I guess not the right word. It's possible that the guys that are playing the competitive fast pitch version of the game are a lot more competitive. In other words, they're the ones willing to throw down the money to travel, to find and beat other teams, players, win tournaments, whereas guys maybe playing NWLA are not, you know, that's not their mindset. They're content. You know, is that possible? Is that true? I have no idea.
I think so. I mean, if there's people who they'll throw down $200-300 for a flight, for hotels, to just play for a cup and for bragging rights. And then there's guys who'll do the same, motivated by money. And okay, which one of those guys is probably the better athlete? The guys just playing for bragging rights and a cup, or guys playing for $10,000? Now, I haven't seen a lot of the Fast Plastic talent, but I'm pretty sure those guys are probably the better players. Because, you know, it's just common sense, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll get off of that. That's kind of a tough subject to get into.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I've listened to the Two Wiffle Dudes podcast. I've listened to quite a few of the shows, and I have to say I enjoy listening to you. I think, like you said, you're like the straight guy. You level-headed, you know, the common sense kind of guy. Your co-host, I have to take everything he says with a grain of salt sometimes. He's tough one to swallow. But I really enjoy listening to you. I think you do a great job. So I know in a past show I was saying maybe I should have a debate with Josh, I think's his name, right? About what we were just discussing. But you know, I don't want, if we get time for that, I may try to do that if we get to that point. But anyway, I think you do a great job with your podcast. If anybody hasn't listened to the Two Wiffle Dudes podcast, check it out. What do you have new upcoming for the show? Anything guys should be looking for?
First off, thanks for that compliment. And I knew I needed a couple of hot takes, and I know you guys mentioned the Josh Smith hot take about how he was talking about fast plastic. To be honest, man, Josh Smith has passed the NCAA tournament many times, and he was one of the original guys on the host committee. And it just, you know, he's not shy to say what's on his mind, you know?
Yeah. But
what's new for this podcast? We just did episode 80, so we got 81 coming up, and it's NCAA tournament season. So I'm going to be doing 16 shows in 16 days. I won't be hosting them all. We have a network, so there's going to be other hosts. So all the teams that qualify for nationals, we're going to do previews of each team. They're all going to have their own episodes, followed by a predictions episode. The network has other shows. They got a show that just talks about like logos and uniforms. They have a show that breaks down the new leagues of the NCAA. We got a show that talks about commissioners. And we have like a around the horn type show. So network's doing pretty well right now. You know, we're in the heart of Whipple season, so it's a little bit harder sometimes to get shows from the other guys, but you know, going pretty well.
Yeah, sounds like you got a lot of stuff going on there. I don't know how you plan to get all that in on your schedule. I mean, you got to have a life, right? So good luck with that, man.
And my plan is to just, hopefully other guys will help me out and they can do some of the shows. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, JB's saying we're running out of time quick. So I don't know, last question for you. I'm going to see you in Texas.
I want to come to Texas, and I want to bring a team. I know there was the Turkey franchise. I want to bring a second NAA team. I want to do it. I want to manage it. I want to bring some of the big names in the sport, and I would love to see you down there. I want to apologize again for the horrible audio in the beginning. Maybe in 5 to 6 months we can do this again, and I'll promise better audio. Because if you're looking at the chat, it's hot right now. I've never seen like this, so
that's probably the most.
Obviously,
As I say, it's probably the most controversial chat I've seen in the history of the Fast Plastic Radio Network, Carl.
Yeah.
So I think my audio, it might have been bad, but it brought in some discussion. So I feel horrible about it, but thanks for giving me guys second and third chances, and I hope we can talk again.
Hey, Carl, before you get off the phone with us, tell us who you are and what's your favorite wiffle station.
I was waiting for this question. My name's Carl Coffey. My favorite wiffle station, because you know what, I run a network, not a station. My favorite wiffle station is Fast Plastic Radio. Thank you, JB. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
We'll get you back on soon, man. Have a good night.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. Man, this is just blowing up over here on the chat.
Yeah.
It's incredible. The whole idea of the NAA versus Fast Plastic, that is just going wild.
NWLA versus FP.
Yeah. It's like
well, here's the thing. The one thing Carl said is, if what was it? He said, if there was a lot of money, if there's some rich guy out there with a lot of money,
I kind of
maybe the guys would come out. Well, I mean, that's kind of what's happening.
Isn't that what's going on here in October?
Well, last year, if the NWLA would have sent teams down to Texas, it would have been a $10,000 payout to an NWLA team for winning. You're not going to find a higher payout.
Right.
This year, same thing, guys.
Right.
Get your very best players. Build the best all-star team you can possibly build. Send them down. And if you beat Cloud 9 in the championship game, you're taking home maybe 15,000. So what more would you like us to say?
I mean, there's the guy with all the money. He's,
or how about this? I get an all-star team of pro style players, and Carl works to get a team of his best players, and we meet up in smack dab middle of the country. Let's see, this sounds kind of familiar. We can meet up at like a lakeside park type place and play a 7-game series, and boom, there you go.
Absolutely.
It'll never happen. It's never going to happen.
Probably not.
Anyway, all right. Well, yeah, bad audio on that one. That's got to be rough for a radio guy.
Bad audio and all, but I tell you what, it's still probably one of the most controversial interviews, and with the chats going on over there, it's got a lot of debate. He fired up a lot of debate there. I thought it was a good one. Bad audio or not, I thought it was really good.
So JB, I got shirt of the week. I don't want to forget about that.
We'll jump right into that, and we've got a new intro for shirt of the week.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I just want to throw that out. Okay, now you've not heard this.
Here
we'll see what you think. Here we go. Shirt of the week.
Do you have a shirt that you really love? One that you feel so groovy in? You don't even mind if it starts to fade. That only makes it nicer still. I love my shirt. I love my shirt. My shirt is so comfortably lovely. I love my shirt. I love my
All right, let's see the shirt of the week.
All right. Well, actually, I have two. I lied.
Two. Okay.
I lied last week, too, because I said I wasn't going to do two anymore.
Well, that's right.
So later on tonight, we got a special guest coming on, Jim Ballion from out in Arizona.
Right.
And he used to run the Arizona Wiffle Ball League, him and Jim Dalby and some other guys for years. So figured since we're going to devote so much time to the hot deserts of the Southwest, I should go and devote a little bit of time to the extreme cold tundra, the boreal forests of the North America wiffle ball leagues up there.
Right.
So I figured I'd break out one of their shirts. So this shirt I'm about to show you is from the Yukon Upper Northwest Territory Wiffle Federation, and I've had it for a few years. Let me grab it real quick, JB.
All right, you go ahead and grab that.
Can you see that?
Yeah, that's a nice shirt.
Yeah, that's way up there in the extreme Great White North, Yukon, Upper Northwest Territories of the Yukon, where they play ball. That's what they wear.
That's a nice shirt.
Yeah, not too bad. Gets a little bit of yellowing under the armpits.
I would say on those really hot days, right?
Yeah, and then this was the old Arizona Wiffle Ball League shirt from, I think this is like 2004-ish.
That's pretty cool. Pretty nice. All right.
You can see the Fast Plastic sponsor logo on the back there.
Yes. Yeah. Right there. Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Absolutely.
Right where you want to not get hit by a 90-mile-per-hour fastball.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
All right, we got that over with.
All right, so real quick before we get it, because we gotta pay some bills around here too to keep the show on the air. But I want to we did this a couple shows back. Okay, yeah. I want to talk about this week in wiffle ball history. Okay, what went on? Good so. Idea. We're going to start. I've got a little audio clip of what went on this week in wiffle ball history. Well, unfortunately, things have not changed yet, but we're trying to trailblaze into the future and make history.
How embarrassing is that? We've got all these hundreds and thousands of listeners and nothing to report.
That's right. So stick around. We're going to be right back here momentarily. We got to pay some bills. That means we're going to play some ads, and don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the Fast Plastic Radio Network. Fast Plastic Radio Network.
Now the pitch. There's a high drive, deep right center, way back. Might be out of here. It's off the wall. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. A third man scores.
Do you want to hit like a pro? Big Flies, changing the way you play one bat at a time. Handmade, lightweight wood bats, custom designed to individual orders in Chico, California. You can reach Big Flies through Babs Big Flies on Facebook Messenger or simply by calling Kevin 530-513-7371. Big Flies, changing the way you play one bat at a time.
Hey everybody, DP here. Tune in Sundays to the West Coast Wiffle Report live on Blog Talk Radio as we chronicle all things wiffle ball.
Fast Plastic is back. The 2018 Texas Open in Frisco, Texas. Saturday, October 6th, Columbus Day weekend. Battle through 24 of the hardest hitting teams to take home the most coveted prize in the history of the sport. Fast Plastic. We're back bigger and better. $10,000 and a national championship. Register now. www.fastplasticnct.com. Fast Plastic. It's about the game.
The last time these two teams saw each other, it took 3 games and extras to see who would advance to the finals. This Sunday, there will be just 1 game as the first-place Dodgers face the 4-2 Diamondbacks on the Palisades WBL Game of the Week. Palisades Ironman Tim Trineri takes the carpet against hard-throwing Devin Torres as they try to slow down Whiffman, Johnny Whiffs, Kenny Stengel, and Rich Galah. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, the Palisades WBL Game of the Week, Sunday at 2:40 p.m. live on Facebook.
Burl's Chainsaw Shop. Tired of your mama's steak knives? Use a chainsaw by Burl for all your ball stuffing needs. It's faster.
FP Radio Network.
All right, and we're back.
We are back for all your ball scuffing needs.
Gotta love Burl.
You do.
Yeah.
He's one of a kind.
Absolutely one of a kind.
Jim Ballion coming up here, JB, in about 8 or 9 minutes.
About 8 minutes, yeah. Absolutely.
I don't think he's ever done a radio podcast, radio show, whatever.
Groundbreaking then, right?
Could be.
Well, that's good. That's real good.
Yeah.
All right.
Hope he's not sitting in a bar slamming tequila right now.
Well, if he is, it might make for a really good interview.
Yeah. So, sounds like you've been knocking out the spots.
Absolutely.
Ad spots. And what if somebody out there wanted to add an ad to the show?
Well, it's pretty simple. Message us on Facebook, WROC The Rock, or you can email us at WROC935TheRock@gmail, or you can message Bill, tell him about what you're wanting, or you can produce your own spot and send it to us, and we'll talk to you about that, and we'll get it on for you.
Yeah, didn't you say that we can even take it up a notch?
Absolutely.
By going like even more so than what we...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can take it up, but that's the discussion part we've got to talk to him about.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. So one of the things I'm going to get into with Ballion whenever he comes on is, I don't know how many guys know this, but back in 2005, 2006, he played ball against the National League batting champion, Freddie Sanchez. I think he was the batting champion for the Pirates that year. And I think he went on to play for the Giants. Giants won a World Series with him. Anyway, he played against him, struck him out every time. So every single at bat, Sanchez struck out. So that's just another example of a pro-style wiffle ball player going up against an MLBer and dominating. That's been going on for years, going back to the 80s. Pretty interesting. So I don't know if I'll have time to get into that with Jim, but if not, there's a good story for you. Check it out.
Speaking of Jim, we've got him on the line. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Not bad. Welcome to the Fast Plastic Radio Network.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. So is this your first time doing an amazingly huge wiffle ball radio show, Jim?
My first time ever, and I'm shaking at the fingertips. I'm so excited.
Holy cow. Now you got me all nervous. So I was telling JB, I hope you're not like sitting in a bar somewhere slamming tequila down in Cancun or someplace like that, right?
I'm sitting on the ocean in Southern California with the waves crashing at my feet.
Oh. Are you reading a novel?
Yeah, some of the poetry that I wrote. I'm reading it right now and making sure I like everything I put in it.
That's great, man. Huntington Beach, I hope. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, a while ago I did Shirt of the Week, and it was an old Arizona Wiffle shirt that you guys had made.
Nice.
One of the nicer shirts that I've seen. And you guys had a really successful league, great wiffle scene out there back in the day. A lot of teams, a lot of really good top-notch players, and it just is kind of all disappeared. What do you think happened? How does that happen to such a baseball-driven community as Phoenix?
I ask myself that same question all the time. We had, like you're saying, a lot of people came, and there was, we had a league, there was a lot of teams. And I remember back to the first time when we heard about wiffle ball. I mean, I was beyond excited when I saw it in the newspaper, and there was actually an organized tournament. So that's what I found kind of funny, that, once we got it going, one thing I did learn, for whatever reason, it seems like in anything else, you have to really put a lot of time and effort into it, even if it's established, just to keep it going, which I still couldn't understand to this day, because, who doesn't enjoy playing wiffle ball?
Right. Yeah. And I had Dalby on a couple weeks ago, and, we were talking about the Glendale Wiffle Ball World Series and 60, 70, 80 teams in that. So,
yeah, that used to be a twice-a-year event. Then it, kind of slowly changed to an annual event. But it's the same as anything else. You have to kind of do a lot of. It seems like you had to market it a lot, and you always had to be active in getting the word out. And that was the thing, is unless you're putting that time into it and following up and getting things out there, there's a lot of, I guess, legwork that needs to happen to make it go and to have a high team count. So that's why that's really probably one of the critical pieces, is you got to have that person that's motivated, passionate about it, and wants to see the tournament succeed. So
yeah, I agree. There were a couple of years where you were even running tournaments in the minor league baseball stadiums. Like I seem like I remember home of the Texas Rangers out there, and
yep,
yeah.
And see, that was one of the same thing. An opportunity. I think that's the thing, is anytime you have good opportunities, seize them. And in that one, we were able to partner with a radio station, and they approached us, and they said, we want to do something. So they worked with one of the radio stations. It was a car dealership that was trying to promote and have like a weekend sale. Then they worked with the radio station, and they're like, well, let's do a wiffle ball tournament. So I helped kind of put, that together and make it happen. But those radio show hosts, same thing, they have a big following. So a lot of people came out just to see those guys. So that's why the marketing piece of it seems to be pretty key.
Yeah. So you said you first read about it, the Phoenix wiffle scene, in a newspaper. What year was that? What was that? Was that your first tournament that you had ever played?
Yeah, I'm going to guess it was 96. And the Arizona Republic had a write-up about the Glendale Wiffle Ball World Series. And one of the people I knew was playing in it, and his picture was in the sports section. So then that's how we kind of saw. I was like, oh, man, there's organized wiffle ball. And, they said they had, it was like 85, 90 teams or something. And we had always played, in the woods, baseball. We had always played wiffle ball at 100 different places. And then we saw that, and I was like, oh, my gosh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's organized wiffle ball. I mean, let's go. And so then that Glendale wiffle ball tournament, I just grabbed some buddies, and it was like grabbing bodies. I had a couple of guys who were baseball, and it was, childhood buddies. It was like, all right, let's get 5 guys and go out there and have a good time. And that was our first organized wiffle ball tournament that we had played in ever.
Yeah. So then that progressed. I think in 2000, I ran the first California tournament in January, and I was able to convince you to bring a team over, and you guys played. And I remember watching you throw and consistently throwing strikes, and wasn't a whole lot of guys that could do that. If we had 10 or 12 teams at that tournament, and I would say we had 10 or 12 guys that could consistently throw strikes, but you were right there almost every pitch, and it kind of caught my eye, and I was like, I need to, follow this guy, make sure he stays in touch and stays playing as much as possible. And you remember the first tournament? I think you guys, did you get to the championship of that against the A-Bros? I don't really remember. Or maybe you and I played against each other, but that was January 2000 Golden State Challenge.
Oh wow, yeah. So I think I would have played with some of the Arizona guys.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, I think so.
Sounds vaguely familiar, yeah. And that was kind of fun too, because then remember that tournament being like what you're saying, the California one. There was a lot of good talent, which was fun. It was fun to get away, go out, Beach City, good place to be, and then go see a bunch of people that you'd never played against before. So it was good.
Yeah, and after that, that was the coming out party for the Abros, that tournament. From there, from that January 2000 through probably mid to late 2002, the Abros dominated everybody. And one of the things that I've told this story to a few guys over the past, I don't know, couple of years or even way back, but so Rich Ewald and I, we played on a team called the Long Shots, and we broke up because half our team was from the East Coast, DeMacy, and Rich and I were living in Huntington Beach, and we wanted to stay local. We're like, well, we got to have a team that can beat the Abros, or else if we can't beat the Abros or at least compete with them, then we're not playing. I mean, we're just used to winning. I said, what about that guy that came over from Arizona that could throw strikes? And we talked about it, and that was you. And they're like, all right. I said, I'll get a hold of him, see if he's interested. So this was 2000. This was after a full season of the Abros beating us every single game. So I got a hold of you. You came over. You, Rich Ewald, and myself formed the Vipers. And we were competitive. We were one of the top 5 or 6 teams of a stacked region. We get through the season. I think at some point we pass the Abros in points. And we're at one of the most competitive West Coast tournaments ever. We're playing the Abros in a playoff game, and this is huge. I mean, it's got a ton of points on the line, huge significance. I was pitching the game. I was starting to run out of gas, and I said, Jim, you think you can come in and shut them down here, and we win a couple innings? You're like, oh, yeah, no problem. And you threw this sidearm cutter, that I called it, like a screwball, but it was sidearm. And I can remember telling you, we're playing under the lights. I remember telling you, whatever you do not pitch to Chad. Throw around him, whatever you got to do. Throw the ball 5 feet in front of the plate. Don't give him anything to hit. You kind of looked at me like, yeah. And I told this story, like I said, many times, but this image is still burned in my mind of this wiffle ball sailing about 100 feet over the center field fence, me looking up at it, just going off into the darkness way out in center field, and then turning around, looking at you, thinking, why did you pitch to Chad Anderson? And I'm like, oh my.
It was a grand slam, if I am not mistaken, right?
Yes, you are correct. That one killed us. But we did eventually that season. We did eventually beat him. That was a very controversial year for us, but we pulled through. But yeah, that was I wish we would have had that game on video to watch these days. That would have been a great one.
Maybe for you.
Yeah. So, all right. So, like I said, won the championship in 2002 down there in Florida, knocked off State of Mind. I retired. Ewald quit playing. You kept the Vipers team together, rebuilt, came back in 2003, and just phenomenal performance at a really big, powerful, strong tournament down there in Austin the first year. Tell me a little bit about that. The guys that you recruited to rebuild the Vipers. What was that like for you? Was it easy, difficult?
I think it was kind of a no-brainer as far as which Arizona guys to pick. So it was both of the Dalbys, Shoeless Dave, and Greg. So, which in the prior year when we were in Florida, they were in Arizona doing well and playing in the Glendale tournament. Unfortunately, I think they were on the same weekend. So it was kind of a no-brainer to get those guys because, they were a fun bunch. They got along great together, and they would have been fun to play with. So it was kind of a no-brainer, and it really just fell into place.
Yeah, and those guys were all great sportsmen. You know, it's all about having fun first, or so it seemed on the surface. But I think you got right down to it. Those guys were super competitive, and you know, they were among the best. You know, I saw some pretty incredible fielding plays. I think couldn't all the guys pitch, and they could all hit.
Shoeless Dane could eat up an inning or two. Greg never pitched, and then both of the Dalbys could pitch.
Yeah. So you guys came into that tournament in 03. I don't know if you were the favorites coming into it or not. I can't remember.
I would not anticipate that we were.
I think it was maybe the Shockers had received the DeRoche brothers maybe had gotten the number one rank or whatever back then, you know, as the pick to win. Maybe you guys were number 2 or 3, and probably in
that
the
high,
box.
really? I guess I don't remember, but I guess I wouldn't have thought that was the case, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. So how many innings did you throw in that tournament in 03? You remember?
I think it was either 65, 66, some ridiculous amount.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty good. Most guys, they throw, you know, you start getting up around 35, I would say 38 innings. A lot of guys never recuperate from that. How do you manage to keep your arm in shape after throwing 65 innings? I mean, how's that possible?
I will admit that that's kind of an extreme for sure. But one of the things that I've noticed, whether it be wiffle ball or baseball, is throughout the years and even to this current day, is the more preparation and stuff you do beforehand, and then after with the recovery stuff is important. Running. So I think blood flow is one of the most important ones. Obviously, running, blood flow, cardio, but then specifically all of the muscles around all the key joints, you know, shoulders, doing lots of high rep exercises. I think that helps with a lot of keeping stuff together and less prone to injury. But I would probably credit all of those, that combination of all of those things, and not just, you know, I think one of the things that I've noticed is, especially if I start to do a lot of pitching, it seems like the more and more that I do, and I build up a lot more endurance to it versus just trying to go out and do it. I've noticed, you know, there's a lot of really talented guys that maybe just they'll come in and they would go just pitch and not after doing anything, and it doesn't hurt them that day, but it's after, you know, the next day or the next week where they feel the repercussions of that. And I think that's a big no-no that I've learned. You know, go ahead and build up to it, and really just kind of tax it and get your body used to that kind of stuff throughout the year. And then this way, by the time you get to that point, your body's already used to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know for me, it was always the second day after throwing, I was in the worst shape. I don't understand exactly why. And usually by about day 6, you know, I would start throwing again. And I never did a whole lot of running, though, but bicycle, a stationary bike. But I guess everybody's different for the most part. But I do a lot of push-ups, upper body weights and things like that. I don't know if anybody does stuff like that anymore today. If they take it that seriously, I have no idea. But I can remember sitting in the little gym where I lived there, and only guy in there thinking, man, this is about as boring as it gets, riding a stationary bicycle.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I hate running, too. I mean, to be honest with you, running sucks.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of one of those things you notice. If you can notice how, for me, the recovery time is much faster when you do the running or any basically aerobic exercise. I noticed that the arm was the last thing to hurt. It would be the lower, you know, your knees or other parts that you use. And it was nice. If you, the quicker, the more cardio and type stuff you did, it seemed like the faster you could bounce back.
Yeah, the thing I've always wondered about wiffle, especially the game that we play, is so if you're a pitcher and you're throwing high inning count, you know, 25, 30 innings, how much of your body is being worn out from the at bats when you've got to bend over every time and pick the ball up and throw it back to the pitcher. How much wear and tear is that taking on a pitcher? So if anybody has an answer to that, JB, what's the number they can call in?
618-200-9260.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right. So, serious question. Vipers repeat, do the 02-03 repeat national champions. Only time it's ever been done. Come back in 04. You get down to the Final Four, correct?
Yep.
And tragedy strikes on In the Box. You guys end up losing. Is that the farthest that the Vipers, was that the last real deep run that you guys had? 04.
It very well could be. Nothing else comes to mind as of like, hey, Final Eight or any of that stuff. Because then we had some true train wrecks after that. I remember some that I don't even know if we made it out of the round robin. Just get there and go, my goodness, just like the wheels fell off, or go 5-0 in round robin, and then the tires just come screeching home.
Yeah, that happens a lot, but I think a lot of that's attributed to guys are gunning for you. I mean, your name, the reputation of the team. It's like, all right, they're saving it up. If they meet up with the Vipers in some elimination game, it's laying it all on the line. Whereas maybe you guys were like, all right, we can do this, no big deal. So
yeah,
I've been on some teams where that's been the case. But yeah, I always wondered that, you guys from 04 moving forward were always picked, to finish Final Four at least, and just seemed like it never happened. But train wrecks, that's a good way to describe it.
Oh yeah. Those aren't fun to be part of. It's fun to be on the train that makes it all the way to the end.
Yeah, so another kind of interesting story. You and I played on a team. We went to St. Louis Wiffle Up in 2005, I think. And I think it was like 120 teams, something like that. It was the second time that I'd been there. I'd been there the year before with the Texas Marshals. And that team disbanded. 3 of us stuck together. The other 2 guys, Jonathan King was on the team, and Craig Freeman, they went on to other teams. And so we had a 3-man team, and we wanted to make the trip up to St. Louis. We're like, we need to find another guy. And said, well, let me give Balian a call. Anyway, you came out. We get through that tournament, and it was pretty amazing. I mean, it was a huge tournament. Get to the championship game. It's us against Joe Nord, Ryan Wood, right?
Yep.
And did you pitch that game, the championship? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was amazing. So the kid, Rodney, high school kid, played on our team, hits the I don't know if it was a walk-off home run or not, hits it off Ryan Wood. We win the championship.
Yeah, I think it was during the early innings. It was 1-0, but yeah, he hit the home run to put us ahead. And I think that's just how it finished with 1-0.
Yeah. So anyway, so now the Texas Marshals won that tournament 2 years in a row. Okay, all's good. So 2006, the tournament comes up again, and we've got a team, same thing. We're wanting to go back up there, play again. And I can't remember if I reached out to you or not, but for some reason there was some lack of communication there. We get up there to the tournament. I'm looking around and walking out this corner of my eye, I see Jim Balian walking up. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, what are you doing
all about
here?
Prizes.
Oh, yeah, big time. It turned out Jerome Coyle had got a hold of you, beat me to the punch, right? And you showed up to play. And the Marshals guys were off talking strategy. I say, if we do nothing else, let's make sure we beat the hell out of Balian and whatever team he's playing on. So how did that happen? Did Coyle just call you up? How in the world did he track you down? Do you remember that?
I have no idea, to be honest with you, how that all transpired. Obviously, at some point or somehow, he got a hold of me, and maybe it was really early in the year or something. I don't remember how it transpired, but all I remember is I was going back to playing St. Louis, and yeah, it was with him and a couple of other people.
Yeah, I think maybe Lou Worthington might have been one of the guys. Phil Levenchuk.
Maybe, yeah.
But anyway, the tournament didn't happen. We never got the chance. I think it was a rain out, right? Never really.
Yeah, the rain out where the field was better because of the rain than it was before, and then it still got canceled.
Yeah,
that was a pretty disappointing one.
It wasn't even raining, you know. And like,
nope.
what's going on? But well, so. So what's going on with you these days as far as your playing days? Or do you get much of a chance to play at all? Do you practice ever?
We're talking about wiffle ball?
Wiffle, baseball, basketball, football. What do you got going on? Fishing?
No fishing. Luckily, being in Phoenix, there's a wood bat baseball league that I've been a part of for, well, quite some time now, 10 plus years, I guess. And we get to utilize and play at all the spring training facilities. So the fields are immaculate. And I've been doing that. And that season typically runs from April all the way to October. So we probably put in, I don't know, I'm going to say 25, 30 games a year. So I've been pretty active in that. And doing lots of pitching. I probably log, 100 and something innings every year in that. And then if whatever, we've been fortunate to have a few wiffle ball tournaments via high school fundraisers that get, 40, 50 teams or whatever wiffle ball tournament gets coordinated, we're there.
Yeah.
And I think we've put on maybe one or two over the, I don't know, it's probably only been over the last 5 years. We haven't done very much. So anytime there's wiffle ball, we're obviously in.
Now, when you say we are, who is we?
So obviously the Dalbys, so Randy, Jim, my son's been playing a lot lately, so we have a wiffle ball field in our backyard, so he's been really getting into it a lot. So that's been probably the change of experiences the last, 3-4 years. Any tournaments that have been around, he played on our team, so it's been kind of fun to see, obviously your own flesh and blood in a younger form getting into it and play it and have fun. And then it's even more fun when he gets to play like against his other kids and all these pitches that you've taught him, and he gets to, make kids his age or a few years older look silly. It's kind of fun to see that at a different perspective, I guess.
Yeah, I remember watching him in Texas, and he seemed like he had a clue, like he knew what he was doing, so it's exciting to see the
because like anybody knows, especially when you pitch in the beginning, wiffle ball, the control perspective of it can be quite frustrating in the beginning. You're like, well, what the hell? I just threw this stupid pitch yesterday or last time, and it was breaking this way. Why is it doing the opposite? Or why is it not moving? And that's the one thing I would say about all of the pitching is once you get past that frustrating level and you can just kind of grab a ball and you can control it, then pitching becomes fun.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more fun than not being able to find the strike zone or whatever sport it is. But then it kind of has the double-edged sword, and that used to be my bad thing is I found the zone too much. Then I had to learn, let's learn how not to hit the zone and still be effective. So.
Right. Yeah, that's
and that's one of the things too I probably should talk about. When you talk about guys logging lots of innings, one of the things that I think I've always been, regardless of my age, even when I was younger, the key, I think, to long innings, even in baseball, I would always do whatever it takes to get the out. If you don't have to dial it up and throw as hard as you can every single pitch, because that's just going to wear you out faster. So it's how do you maintain and just be effective and use whatever resources it takes to get the outs, whether it's, like for me, a 4-pitch inning, I'd take versus striking out every single guy. If I could get 3 ground balls and be out in 3 pitches, I'd take that every day. So that's kind of one of the things. Like, well, how do you get out but yet not exert 110% on every pitch? Because that'll really wear you down. And that's the whole piece of the tournament. If your whole bottom half and your upper half are just exhausted because you're going full bore, then you're not going to last very long. I guess.
Yeah, I agree with you. There used to be a guy. His nickname was Old Man Reed. He played in St. Louis back in the 80s and 90s, early 90s. And, I mean, he was an old man compared to the younger guys that played at Lakeside Park. But he was a lefty. He didn't throw hard. But, he forced you to swing the bat, and you would hit the ground balls, pop-ups, and he would have 4, 5, 6 pitch innings. And he would win every game. You could not beat the guy because he knew how to pitch. And that's a lost art. I mean, there's a few guys that still can do that, I guess. Like Nick Schaefer comes to mind. He's really good. I see Jordan Robles doing that quite a bit. And I'm sure there's some others.
Jim Dalby.
Old man Dalby.
Jim Dalby he's a artsy, crafty lefty. Not against me. That was probably one of the reasons why in 03 I had to get him on my team. I was like, God, this guy makes. If I'm in a slump, just have this guy throw against me, because then I've just become on fire. So I was like, but against other people, he's baffling. But that's part of the game, though, right? There's some guys that can't hit certain people, and that's why they get statistics and study that kind of garbage.
Well, speaking of not being able to hit, I was talking just before you coming on air about the Freddie Sanchez setup. How did that happen? And did you feel bad after doing that to him?
No, not at all, actually. So, to be honest with you, that would be my first time that I'd faced a professional Major League Baseball player. So I was actually uncertain. I'm like, well, I wonder how this is going to go, because I've pitched against a lot of the MLB guys in these baseball leagues. A lot of retired guys go play in these October tournaments out here. And a lot of these Major League hitters have such pure swings that, you're not going to blow anything by them. They all have phenomenally quick hands. They're short, compact, and develop lots of power. So that was my one thing. I was like, gosh, this guy just won a batting title. He's probably going to just be quick to the ball and know how to hit. So I really just didn't know. But when it started to unravel throughout the actual episode, I was relieved, I guess, let's say that it was going the way that it did, and he was looking silly. And I was kind of like, oh, good, because I really didn't know what to expect. And I got contacted. Gosh, there was a gentleman. I don't remember how it all transpired, but basically he had reached out to me. The guy who was writing this book and was working for ESPN that was doing like kind of a pros versus Joes thing. He basically reached out to me and was telling me about what he was trying to do. And, he was really kind of hoping that I would make him look silly, because that was kind of the premise of the book was, well, some of these sports, it's not going to go like you would think. And so he was really hoping that he wouldn't hit anything. So, and that's kind of how it obviously transpired. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Freddie Sanchez, he played for the Pirates that year and won the National League batting title, right?
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Super nice guy, really good about it. That I had done a couple of different things. There was another one I did with the Diamondbacks. And so it was really funny. Some of the guys took it in spirit, and then there were some guys that were ultra competitive, which you got, as somebody at that level that's played at a professional sport, you can obviously understand they're going to all be competitive. And so that was even more fun, is to go against the guys that were really trying their hardest and were getting pissed off. Why can't I hit this ball? And it was actually kind of funny. So we had done it twice with Reggie Sanders, and this follow-up time, I was so confident that these guys weren't going to be able to hit it. I brought one of those old big, I don't know, the barrel's like 5 inches thick, the ones that are, the little baby bats. And I had made one that I had put that on top of a wood handle. So the bat was actually 38 inches long. So after they went through a couple of rounds, I said, here, you guys, why don't you use this bat? And because there was people out there watching it, and they same thing. They were swinging through with that bat. And, a lot of that has to do with, I think they're just not used to that kind of movement. And in all fairness, it's the same thing when we first started playing wiffle ball. Until you start facing some of these top-notch guys or people that have done some throwing, you've never seen stuff like that before. So,
yeah, it's expanding your hitting zone. That takes a while to get through a guy's head. You got to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So.
Especially like those major league guys. that zone and the ball, granted they have movement, it's not the same. So they're trained to, you know, a smaller zone, it's a whole different thing. You know, if something's coming at their shoulders, they're not going to have to swing in baseball, where in wiffle ball, well, that thing's going to drop right down and hit the zone. So, or come from an inch off the ground. You know, that's the dynamic they're not used to. So.
Well, we got about 2 minutes here. So 2 quick questions for you. Number one, I like to ask a lot of the guys that come on this question. All your trophies, I'm sure you got a trophy room somewhere. Maybe they're all jammed up in the upper shelf of your closet. I don't know. But what trophy in there shines the brightest for you?
You know, I would have to say that 2003 Vipers team that won everything, just because of the people that were on the team, the dynamic of it, and that whole tournament. It was, I mean, I don't know how many 1-0 games we won. That was probably my most sacred wiffle ball memory out of all of them. And it was just different. And it was great to be a part of. I mean, down to the last hit. I wouldn't want to be in a championship game and win 10-0. Those ones that are 1-0 or 1-run different games, there's just something about them, man. Your blood's pumping. It's an experience you can't explain, and it's fun to be a part of it and be on the winning side of it. So I would have to say that 2003 year.
Yeah, there was a documentary made and captured a lot of that championship game in that documentary really well. I watched it recently, matter of fact. Probably the greatest catch maybe in all of sports history was made in that game. Or no, actually that was the game prior to the championship, the Adam Friend catch on the for the Stomper.
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, last question. $10,000 payout. What do you got going? You got a team being built for the Texas Open?
I'm always interested in playing wiffle ball.
Yeah.
Always. You will never, that's always the priority. When you start talking about what's wiffle ball tournaments, they're always playing. So we're always, the dates on the calendar, how are we going to be out there as who? That's the next question. You know, that's the tough thing. Obviously, a lot of these tournaments now, you've got there's a lot of teams that are stacked well, and you've got to go out there with pitching depth and guys that can hit, because all these teams are really, really good. So, you know, there's pros and cons. Part of me likes just the old school Vipers flashback team, both Dalby's, myself. You know, I think that would be fun. But it's like anything else, you know, when you're out there, you want to be competitive and you want to win. So not that team wouldn't be competitive, but it would do great. But some of these teams, it seems like, you know, every guy can pitch, and they're a number one starter on every team. So it's definitely, if you're watching those games, there's going to be a lot of great games to watch in a tournament like this upcoming Open.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, I'm sure you'll be getting some calls, some knocks at the door, wanting to.
Yeah, probably wrong address, but we'll answer them and tell them, sorry, you're looking at the wrong guy.
Well, you got to tell guys now, say, hey, man, I'm almost 60 years old these days. I'm getting pushing 300 pounds.
Yep.
You know, I've got corns on my feet, and I don't know. So.
That's right. Maybe we'll talk to my son. Hey, can you play? I borrowed Dalby's walker, though, so I should be able to get out of the field.
No. Okay. Well, I get then he's not coming if you do that. So. Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for coming on tonight. It's good having you. Good talking to you. JB.
Same here.
Hey, Jim, before you get off the line with us, tell us who you are, where you're calling in from, and what your favorite wiffle ball network is.
I'm Jim Ballion. I'm from Peoria, Arizona, and The Rock is my favorite wiffle ball network, hands down.
Right on.
All right. Appreciate it. You have a good night.
I will see you in Texas.
Yep. See you in Texas.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Another good one there. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Jared Lamp right here on FP Radio.
You're listening to the Fast Plastic Radio Network. Fast Plastic Radio Network.
Now the pitch. There's a high drive, deep right center, way back. Might be out of here. It's off the wall. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. A third man scores.
Do you want to hit like a pro? Big Flies, changing the way you play one bat at a time. Handmade, lightweight wood bats, custom designed to individual orders in Chico, California. You can reach Big Flies through Babs Big Flies on Facebook Messenger or simply by calling Kevin 530-513-7371. Big Flies, changing the way you play one bat at a time. Fast Plastic is back. The 2018 Texas Open in Frisco, Texas. Saturday, October 6th, Columbus Day weekend. Battle through 24 of the hardest hitting teams to take home the most coveted prize in the history of the sport. Fast Plastic. We're back bigger and better. $10,000 and a national championship. Register now. www.fastplasticnct.com. Fast Plastic. It's about the game.
The last time these two teams saw each other, it took 3 games and extras to see who would advance to the finals. This Sunday, there will be just 1 game, as the first-place Dodgers face the 4-2 Diamondbacks on the Palisades WBL Game of the Week. Palisades Ironman Tim Trineri takes the carpet against hard-throwing Devin Torres as they try to slow down Whiffman, Johnny Whiffs, Kenny Stengel, and Rich Galah. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, the Palisades WBL Game of the Week, Sunday at 2:40 p.m. live on Facebook.
Hey, everybody. You're listening to WROC 93.5, the Fast Plastic Radio Network.
And be sure to listen to that Palisades Game of the Week coming up this Sunday. I think 12 noon, did they say? Eastern. And get your wagers in. I know who I'm picking. JB, you know who you're picking?
Well, I was picking my nose, but I don't know. I'm not got a 100% good idea yet.
So maybe you're picking and grinning.
Well, I do that too. So we've got Jared Lamp on the phone with us right now. How's it going, Jared?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, Jared, Bill here. Good to talk to you. Been a long time.
Yeah. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, so tried to get you in last week and just didn't work out. But tonight, got a lot of good questions for you. Hope you're prepared.
You bet.
So obviously, Jared Lamp, he is the guy that started the Moonshot Bat Company. A lot of guys over the years have used the bats and really changed the sport for the better. And, I don't know if there's been a better quality bat that's made that much of an impact since the introduction of that bat. What year did you start Moonshot Bat Company, Jared?
Well, probably officially 1998. So I think we're actually in our 20th year, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, we probably kind of started working on it maybe late 97, and then kind of actually did it and got it started and everything in 1998.
Yeah, I think I first spoke to you maybe as a 99 at that time, and you were telling me that you have this revolutionary idea in bat. And anyway, I eventually got one in my hands and was just blown away by it. Used it for, I don't know, a long time. And I'd still be using it to this day. I don't know if I told you this story or if you heard, but I was shipping it, and I shipped it U.S. Postal. The box arrived at the destination without the bat, and that was the end of that. So
crazy.
All good things have to end. So building Fast Plastic over the years, there's a ton of negativity you got to battle through, obstacles. How about for you trying to get the bat company, the upstart going? What's been some of the major obstacles for you?
I would say mainly, like in the beginning, figuring out how to do it really. So I started kind of messing around with different types of materials. Like, the bat that you originally used was pretty much all carbon fiber, no other materials. My early thinking was, it's a lightweight, thin material. Seems like a great material for, hitting wiffle balls. Which I found over the years is, pretty much probably 70% of our bats now have a carbon core. So a thin layer of carbon on the inside, but then we've used, composite materials in conjunction with that carbon fiber to create better spring. Because carbon itself is very rigid. And so, like, that bat that you used and, many years ago is, it swings great, it feels great, but really doesn't have the best reaction to a wiffle ball and tends to implode the ball more than we like. So carbon's still kind of the central material, but several different materials that go along with it to create a better pop, basically.
Yeah.
So that kind of materials, and then one of the original problems that we had was creating an appropriate core using like different materials. So we have now we use aluminum. Basically, it's like 80%, 90% aluminum, 10% steel. So we have various cores that we make the bats with. And, I started with beeswax, and then I tried wood. I tried nylon, plastic. Nothing ever worked. So that was like the biggest challenge, is kind of just figuring out the best way to make them. And they've kind of really, it's been fun over 20 years. Really almost on a yearly basis, we've made improvements, and some major improvements that have just made fabrication so much easier. We've just improved how the bat feels, the materials. I mean, just the process, everything. It's been fun to see the progress.
I can remember the early days of the Moonshot bat breaking into the scene, to the sport, and I took it to all the big Northeast tournaments, and guys would grab it and look at it, and you could just tell they're thinking, well, that'll never work. I mean, there's no way that's a bad idea, and here we are. Well, I mean, you could say from 99 through about, I don't know, 5 years, 2004, by 2005, it just literally had exploded. Everybody was buying into it then. So it didn't take long. You have any ideas how many bats you have out there today?
I really don't. I mean, over 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
That's a tough question. And I don't, it's always been kind of a passion and just fun for me. I just really enjoy it. So it's a business for sure. I mean, it's been good, and I enjoy it. It's a business, but not as much as other businesses where they're really, crunching numbers and counting everything, and what's this and that. I just really, really enjoy it, and it's been hard. I mean, it's just the process and how involved I've been, and making them, and so on and so forth. That I put a lot of work, early hours, late hours. I mean, I had to be passionate about it to get it to, to keep going over 20 years. And we're in a great place now, where the bats are made really well. We're getting them out, turnaround times a week, maybe 2 weeks. there were times where it was, 6 weeks. I'd get people calling, complaining how long it's taken. And so it's just, once again, that's one of those things that has really improved over the years. And now, you order a bat, we've also had the rush option. If you can get about, a few days, but just our average turnaround time is, a week or two, which is great.
Yeah, that's really good. Handcrafted, right? So, that's really good.
Every bat, handmade, custom made to order. I've got bats kind of laying around, and we get, every once in a while a bat will, crack or something like that. So we got those laying around that are kind of repaired items and stuff. But yeah, any bats that you order, it's like the hamburger places claim that, we don't start it till you order it. So because we have so many different shapes and sizes and colors and text options, I've thought about having a bat, just, one or two colors that we just kind of keep in stock. But I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to do that when so many different colors and shapes are ordered.
Is there one specific color that you sell more than any other?
Not really.
No.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's a pretty good variety of colors. You got, I guess off the top of my head, I'd probably say black.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's lots of different options, and I wouldn't say that one color really stands out. But definitely, we've got the Rev 2, which is a little bit thinner through the middle of the bat with a 2 3/4 inch barrel. That's 95% of bats ordered. Basically, it just swings great. It's a great bat. And then we have the stick, which is, the same diameter as the yellow wiffle ball bat. There's several options there as far as colors and models and stuff like that. And both bats are, off the top of my head again, I can't say that I sell more versions of the stick or the bigger barrels, really. The 2.5 inch barrel is an option. Not ordered that often. So it's basically the 2 3/4 inch and then the stick.
Well, I figured you would have a lot of those guys that play up in the Northeast that order pink bats, but I guess not.
Actually, we get a fair amount of pink orders, but it's definitely not the most popular color. But it's always kind of fun to get a pink order.
So I remember I came up to a tournament when you were living up in Eureka, California area. You had a very, very nice wiffle ball permanent field, and you ran a little a tournament there with a local tournament. I came up for that, and really great experience. But I can remember talking to you about the bats, and you took me and you were showing me all these different versions, where you were experimenting, and there were all these different shapes and sizes. I'm wondering if you've got a Moonshot Bat Hall of Fame, so to speak, where you've got all of these original designs that never went into production that are hanging on a wall or in your garage somewhere.
Nothing that formal. Some of those bats at that field are still there.
Really?
And the family that owns that land, they still play wiffle ball there, and they still use some of those original bats. Wow. One of the first bats we made was, once again, all carbon, and we had a lightning bolt on it from the Natural. So I think it was Wonder Boy or something on it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you swung and played with that bat.
Yeah.
I know that's still there. I've still got a version, I think, that you were swinging, the one you were talking about. I think I've got one or two of those. But yeah, nothing like formally, hanging on walls or in glass boxes or anything like that.
Well, I've got a pretty good collection of bats from over the years, and man, if I could ever get my hands back on that original version that I had, I would have that thing hanging on a wall somewhere, because I love that bat. I really did.
That's awesome.
But I think I had dreams about it. But anyway, moving on here. But yeah, that field up there is still going strong, man. That's good to hear. That was a really awesome field. I remember you showing me the different aspects of the field, and even how bears would come down at night or in the real early morning, come on the field. You remember?
Yeah, there was always, deer and other animals that would come down and kind of graze on it. My wife would tease me because I'd go out at like 4 a.m. and, fertilize it, get it ready. We rolled it, so we'd get the lines. We had red dirt, we had lights. It was really, and that backdrop, you cannot beat that. It was 17 acres up in the redwoods with a river, like a stream kind of running behind it.
Yeah.
The guy that we rented from, he was a contractor, and we were kind of messing around with the wiffle ball field using PVC and stuff like that. And, knowing that I just kind of rented that house there, we weren't going to do anything permanent. And then one day he showed up with all these 4x4s, and he got red dirt from the city, and he just kind of said, "Hey, let's do this." And I'm like, okay, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And it was really, man, it was such a great field.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I have a picture of it somewhere that,
nice.
So you played quite a bit, back in the first year of the USPPBA. You were a big part of that. You played on a team called Sea Jacks, and later on you made trips to the NCT in Austin. You and I actually worked together to run an NCQ at what was that? Was that Long Beach, Dominguez Hill? Yeah.
Yep, in Carson, yep.
Yeah, that was a great...
The news van got stuck in the outfield.
Yeah. So I'll tell...
That was not the highlight.
Oh, that was horrible. So we're on this pristine baseball field in Long Beach, California. And, we're taking every step we can possibly take to make sure we do not destroy this field. And Fox comes out with their news truck, and they want to get out onto the field and raise their camera boom way up so they can get an aerial, similar to what a drone would take today. And I guess they didn't realize that baseball fields are irrigated and there's going to be some soft spots out there. So they got out in the middle of right center field, sunk the van. And I remember looking at you and you're looking at me, and I'm thinking, oh, great. We're going to get hit with a lawsuit. What's going to happen? But I never did hear anything about it. Did you? Anything ever come of that?
Yeah, I think I ended up paying them something. We worked it out. They were pretty cool to work with, for sure. Considering that van was stuck a good foot. It was peeling out in the outfield. Oh. And it was a beautiful field. It was sad.
Yeah, it was horrible.
That was fun.
I have a lot of video footage from that tournament still this day.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I've got to, I've mentioned this in previous shows, but anybody knows the best way I can convert old 8mm over to digital without it taking, a year to do it, let me know, because, guys, I have tons and tons of old tournament footage that needs to be out there. So,
that's great.
So yeah, you played quite a bit. You made it to Texas a couple years. How far did you guys get? Sea Jacks. What was the deepest you got into a tournament?
If I remember right, in Austin, I think we took 11.
Well, that's pretty good.
If I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Considering, it was just my brother-in-law and a buddy, and we played in the Provo, Utah region, which is about 3.5 hours from where I live. And so we went down there. I think, what was there, like maybe 5 or 6 tournaments?
Yeah.
So yeah, we won that region, qualified for Austin, and I thought that was a lot of fun. Great tournament, well organized. The fields were really great. The competition was great. Everyone was great. Such a good experience. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely some good years.
What year was that?
Man, I would think probably 05, 06, maybe in there. Does that sound right?
Yeah, so I'd say like probably 6 or 7.
Okay.
2006 maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Would be my guess. But really, I mean, that was the only. So I live in Idaho Falls, Idaho, and kind of windy here, and winter's like 8 months a year. It seems like. And
yeah.
Wiffle ball for the organized wiffle ball is non-existent, and then when Fast Plastic no longer existed, we didn't have anybody running that Provo region. We just kind of stopped playing competitively, and so it's been a long time since I've really played like we did back in the C-Jack days.
Yeah. You got to be getting up there in age, right? You what, 60 now? 62?
Not quite.
Oh, yeah.
Just turned the big 4-5.
Oh, okay.
Which is old enough.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you still got a couple good years left in you.
Yeah. I still play. I used to play a lot of basketball, and I like to run and stuff, and hike and mountain bike. But I got into tennis. So the last probably 10 years.
Yeah.
I've been playing kind of league tennis. Actually, this weekend I'm heading over to Boise, Idaho, to play in districts for tennis, and that's been a lot of fun.
So I remember too, you told me being from Idaho, you played some college football, right? Wide receiver, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, actually, my freshman year I played basketball, and then actually played football as well. A couple years of football. I actually went out. That's what took me out to Eureka. Is I went out to play for Humboldt State.
Yeah.
University, but I got into working and the bats and stuff like that. So I actually never played for them. I just got good experience, finished up my schooling, and then moved to LA to finish my schooling.
Yeah. So over the years, tons of guys have used your bats. You don't really know how many. I'm going to say hundreds easily.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would say
1,000, I have no idea. Yeah, thousands. But Fast Plastic terms, easily hundreds of guys in Fast Plastic have used the bats. And, I know guys that have owned 3, 4, 5, of your bats. So there's a lot of them out there. So out of all these guys, I viewed on your website a while back where you've had guys giving testimonials. What's been the best comment from a player or testimonial that you've received since you've been doing this?
It's funny because I was just showing one of the guys that kind of works on the website and stuff. One of his buddies, we got on there on our Facebook page, and he didn't really know much about wiffle ball or anything like that. And we were showing some of the testimonies. They were asking kind of about the Facebook and reviews and stuff like that. And I should have it right in front of me. I don't remember word for word what it was. If you want, I can check it out real quick. Give it to you.
Well, I mean,
should have been more prepared on that one, but
no, that's all right. You don't have to do that. I was just curious, if somebody's called you and said, "Man, I used your bat. I got it today. I used it. It was just unbelievable." I was talking to Gary Lavoie a couple shows back, and I know he uses your bat quite a bit. That guy can just crush the ball, and he's got one of your bats hanging up as a trophy that you gave away as the best hitter trophy back in the day. So,
yeah, I remember that was a baby blue bat.
Yeah,
I remember right.
Yeah, definitely. So. I'm sure there's a lot of them out there, guys that really are proud, to be swinging those.
Well, that's, for me, I got a couple months ago, this kid, his parents bought him a bat, and he wrote like a handwritten, just a, kind of, he's probably 12 or 13, and just a really cute 2-page note, kind of a testimonial on the bat, but just it was really cool. That was fun. But yeah, when you just get the kind of the feedback from people that they're so excited they can't wait to get the bat, we get a lot. I mean, the bats are expensive, and I get a lot of, a weekly basis, sometimes a daily basis. Can we get a bat? Can we get a discount? Is there a way you can send us a bat to try it out? We'll do this or that. We don't have any money. We don't have enough money to buy a bat.
Yeah.
We get that, quite a bit. But yeah, when they get it and they really like it, it makes all the hard work and everything definitely worth it.
Yeah, that's always nice whenever you can you feel like the thing too for you, it's got to be knowing you're helping to advance the sport, and it's much needed. Going back, we went through a phase where everybody was crazy on aluminum bats, and they served a purpose and they did a great job. And when the ball changed, it seemed like that's about the same time that the bats changed and people started transitioning back to the bigger barrel plastic. And then, your bat came along, and it was just really good timing. And so it really helped transition the sport. And I know, that if you haven't ever taken any credit for it, you should. So let me tell you, you help advance the sport, significantly.
No, I think so. I think it. Sometimes people complain about the price of the bats, but I also think that when you have a product out there that's made, by hand, high-tech materials, very professional, good looking, I think that does say something about the sport. And really, as far as I know, Moonshot's the only bat company that makes custom wiffle ball bats that are one-piece bats, out of composite materials.
Yeah.
And I think that's critical in wiffle ball because of the ball and the ease of imploding the ball with materials that are either too thick or too thin that don't last. Or a lot of the plastic bats actually have really good pop to them, but it doesn't take long for them to get out of round and kind of flatten out. And
right.
Some of the other bats, they're put together with other materials and stuff. In my opinion, one of the things I love about Moonshot is that it has proper weight distribution. So when you swing a Moonshot bat, the comment I get a lot is, guys that have played baseball say, wow, it actually feels like a baseball bat, but it's 10 to 13 ounces.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I think it's great for the sport. It gives it some credibility. It's always fun to, people that don't know much about kind of the competitive side of wiffle ball are just in shock that bats like this even exist. So, real quick, I've got a little review for you.
Okay.
You want to read it real quick?
Yeah, definitely.
This is the one I was telling you about. It's kind of a fun one. He says, just received my Moonshot bat today. The bat feels incredible, very lightweight and well balanced. Quickness through the strike zone is going to yield huge results. Impressed with the workmanship and the overall quality of this bat. The Moonshot Magma will no doubt put our Team Stag in position to defend our World Series championship. Choose the pink bat to represent tournament month of October as we celebrate cancer awareness. Thanks, Jared, and those at Moonshot Bat for providing me with this gem. 5 stars.
Wow, so, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so there's just, on the website, we try to put some of those up there. Those are kind of fun to just see. Stuff like that.
Yeah. So what's big? What do you got coming? I know you got a pretty big project you mentioned. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it's probably close to maybe 8 months ago or so. We got a call from I'm sure you've heard of like the As Seen on TV people. Kevin Harrington, he's one of the original Shark Tank guys. They have a company where they take products and they just kind of market them. So that's kind of how it started. Basically, they do a professional high def 1 minute commercial that will air on. In our case, you get to choose your networks. So we're talking ESPN, Fox Sports, Spike TV, others. So we'll do that, and they run it about 300 times. And then we also do a 15-minute commercial, kind of in the same line, but for social media, for Facebook, YouTube, whatever. And so It's in production now. We just kind of finalized the script. We were set back for actually a couple of months working with Wiffle Incorporated, just making sure everything's in line with trademarks and, all that type of stuff. Which kind of reminded me when you were talking about the first bat we ever sold was ordered by, I guess, Wiffle Incorporated, but their lawyer ordered the first Moonshot bat online and then called me and said, hey, you can't have the wiffle ball logo on your logo. Because it had a little wiffle ball, going through the Moonshot logo. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
So we just kind of been talking with them. I've been working close with Lou at Golden Stick. They have a great relationship with Wiffle, and we've been kind of working together on the commercial and stuff. And Lou's been heavily involved, which has been great. But hopefully, originally it was going to be this spring, but kind of with the, going over with Wiffle, everything. We're hoping to get it out during the playoffs, MLB playoffs. But it should be pretty cool. The script looks pretty cool. They're going to be coming out from Florida to Idaho to film. We're actually going to have a few people out from the Northeast that are going to come out and be in it. So we're really excited about that. As far as kind of developing bats, I can't say that we have like a timeline, this time every year it's time to come out with a new bat. It really is just, I kind of get the bug and start messing around with some different materials and combinations and test them out. It's always great to send a few bats out to some diehard players that, test them out and give me feedback. And that's been really beneficial to dial in really the best product that we can put out there. The latest that we've put out is the Flex, the C-Flex, and the K12. And we need to update this, but we actually have a couple versions of the K12, one of them being a Blitzball bat. I worked with the owner of Blitzball, and it's been difficult for people to have a bat that's durable enough to use on Blitzballs that provides a really good pop. Because the Blitzball is a little bit heavier, a little bit harder on bats. So we've developed a great bat for that, and then we've kind of modified the K12, a version of that into a wiffle ball bat that's fantastic too. So we're still kind of working on that a little bit on the for the stick, the K12 stick. So we've got a few of those out there, but that's always fun. That's the part I love, is just messing around with materials and shapes. And another thing I think we're going to come out pretty soon is more of a kid's bat. So maybe, a little bit shorter, more specifically for, like maybe 10 to 12 years old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll be good. See selling a lot of those.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a market for that. You got these kids that are working on hand-eye coordination. You don't really want them swinging a heavy bat. Wiffle balls are great for that, for the hand-eye coordination. Yeah. It's just kind of a no-brainer to have a product out there that, kids can pick whatever color they want. Just a little bit shorter. I mean, the weight is okay, really, with the 10 to 13 ounces that we have on all of our bats now. But I think just going shorter, maybe a little closer to the Ken Griffey bat or some of those bats that people like to use for wiffle ball that are, what are they, 20, maybe 28 inches?
Yeah.
Versus like a 35 to 36, something like that.
I know since I've started playing again, I'm swinging a shorter bat these days, and what I used to like as long as I could possibly get, but it's just a different game now. The pitching's better. You can zone in. So to me, a shorter bat, quicker swing, get through the zone quicker means a lot more than being able to reach out across, the hitting zone. So anyway.
Yeah, get those hands through the zone quick.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Jared. Good talking to you again. Sounds like you got a lot of good things going there. So to check in and get some updates from you, and hopefully get a hold of you and have something for Texas. Like I would like to, I know back in the day said we provided a bat to the best hitter, and I may do that again this year. So if I do, I'll let you know and see what we can work out.
Yeah, yep, we're definitely on board. Would love to participate now, and hopefully, I almost made it last year. So we picked pick a date fairly early, I think I can definitely get down there.
Yeah.
Fun.
All right. Well, JB, you got anything?
Yeah, I do, Jared. So tell us who you are and the company you own and your favorite wiffle ball network.
Jared Lamp, founder, owner of Moonshot Bats, and Fast Plastic.
All right.
Is that right?
Yeah, Fast Plastic Radio Network.
Fast Plastic Radio Network. Right. Sorry.
That's okay. Good having you on the show tonight, Jared.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Have a good night, Jared.
You too. Thanks.
Jared Lamp, Moonshot Bats. There, what a good call. It's pretty cool bat, I guess. You know, good idea, good concept there. Sounds like he's going to have a pretty good deal going with the infomercials and stuff.
Yeah, see what happens with that.
Well, I want to open the phone lines up right now because we did have some people earlier asking what the number was to call in.
Oh, really?
618-200-9260. Get you right here in the studio on the Fast Plastic Radio Network. We'll have them open for just a couple minutes here before we wind the show down. So if you want to call, lines are open. Feel free to call. Next week, big show again. We have any teasers out there for next week's show?
No, not really. I may be mixing things up a bit for the next show, so we'll see what happens with that. I do have the NCT Texas Open format worked out.
Okay.
So a lot of guys have been asking what that is.
Going to talk about that on the next show?
Yeah, I will. And I'm going to just mention it briefly here. So it'll be a whole bunch of teams playing a whole bunch of other teams. As often as possible. And the two teams winning the most will play for the championship.
Sounds like you put a lot of work into that.
You wouldn't even believe it if I told you. But in all seriousness, I do have it worked out. I'm waiting for one more sets feedback to come through, and I'll have it posted up on the website and we can discuss it.
Have we got a lot of entries already?
We do. So far we've got 6 teams registered.
6 teams.
You can get signed up now, guys. We're almost through the month of May. You can still cash in on that $100 entry fee through the end of June.
That's right. 6 teams, so it's filling up quick. FastPlasticNCT.com. Get on there, check it out, sign your team up. Don't be left out.
Yeah, and Danny Lanigan had a pretty good idea. He sent me, he said, as guys get registered, I should bring them on the show and let them tell us who's on their team.
Well, that, and they can do a little trash talking too.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely get that. It's a little early for that, but that will definitely pick up as we get closer to the fall. So,
all right. Well, I want to throw it out. Thanks for sticking with us tonight here on Facebook and YouTube. And if you're listening to us on Listen to My Radio app, we appreciate it too. Be sure and share the show on your Facebook page with all your friends. Get the word out on the Fast Plastic Radio Network. We're wanting to hit 1,000 views. Okay, that's our goal. We want 1,000 views, and once we get that, we want to go to 2,000. We're averaging between 500 and 600 views right now. So let's share it. Let's get the word out and make a dream come true. So I guess with that, Bill,
let's call it.
All right. Apparently nobody wanted to call in after all, so we're going to wind it down. Just remember, it's the same time, same day, and the same Fast Plastic Radio Network. You'll find us right here. Until next week, peace out.
I bid you farewell, arrivederci, sayonara, and all that sort of jazz.
What's that smell?
Adios, you chicken-plucking little stinker! Come on! Quit stalling!
As I was saying, Buster, this planet ain't big enough for the two of us. Oh, off you go.
Well, I can't do any more damage around this popsicle stand. I'm out of here!